Chapter 2. Bum Boy. Bum Boy, said Joe. Bum Boy? Sputtered Mr. Spud. What else do you call you at school, son? The bog roll kid. Mr. Spud shook his head in disbelief. He had sent his son the most expensive school in England's Safe Cuthbert School for Boys. The fees were £200,000 a term, and all the boys had to wear Elizabethan ruffs and tights. Here's a picture of Joe in a school uniform. He looks a bit silly, doesn't he? So the last thing that Mr. Spud expected that his son would get bullied. Bullying was something that happened to poor people, but the truth was that Joe had been picked on ever since he started at the school. The posh kids hated him because his dad made his money out of loo rolls. They said that was awfully vulgar. Bottom billionaire, the bum wipe heir, master plot paper, continued Joe. And that's just the teachers. Most of the boys at Joe's school were princes, or at least dukes or earls. Their families had made their fortunes from owning lots of land. That made them old money. Joe had quickly learnt that money was only worth having if it was old. New money from selling loo rolls doesn't count. The posh boys at Safe Cuthberts had names like Nathaniel Septimus, Ernest Betcham, Lysander Tybalt, Zacharias Edmund, Alexander Humphrey, Percy Quentin Tristan, Augustus Bartholomew, Tenquin Imogen, Sebastian Theodore, Clarence and Smith. That was just one boy. The subjects were all ridiculously posh too. This was Joe's school timetable. Monday, Latin, straw hat wearing, royal studies, the study of ethique, show jumping, ballroom dancing, debating society. This house believes that it is vulgar to do up the bottom button of your waistcoat. Scone eating, bow tie tying, punting, polo, the sport with horses and sticks, not the mint. Tuesday, ancient Greek, croquet, pheasant shooting, being beastly to servants class, mandolin level 3, history of tweed, nose in the air hour, learning to step over the homeless person as you leave the opera, finding your way out of a maze. Wednesday, fox hunting, flower arranging, conversing about the weather, history of cricket, history of brogue, playing stately home top trumps, reading Harper's Bazaar, ballet appreciation class, top hat polishing, fencing, the one with swords, not selling stolen goods. Thursday, antique furniture appreciation hour, Range Rover tyre changing class, discussion of whose daddy is the richest, competition to see who is best friends with Prince Harry, learning to talk posh, rowing club, debating society. This house believes that muffins are best toasted. Chess, the study of coats of arms. A lecture on how to talk loudly in restaurants. Friday, poetry reading, medieval English, history of wearing coldry, topiary class, classical sculpture appreciation class, spotting yourself in the party pages of Tatler Hour, duck hunting, billiards, classic musical appreciation afternoon, dinner party discussion topics class. Example, how the working classes smell. However, the main reason why Joe hated going to St. Cuthbert's wasn't the silly subjects. It was the fact that everyone at school looked down on him. They thought that someone whose papa made their money from bog rolls was just too frightfully common. I want to go to a different school, Dad, said Joe. No problem. I can afford you to send you to the poshest schools in the world. I heard about this place in Switzerland. You ski in the morning and then... No, said Joe. How about I go to the local comp? What? Said Mr. Spud. I might make a friend there, said Joe. He'd seen the kids milling around the school gates when he was being chauffeured to St. Cuthbert's. They all looked like they were having so much fun. A great time, chatting, playing games, swapping cards. To Joe, it looked also fabulously normal. Yes, but the local comp, said Mr. Spud, incredulously. You sure? Yes, replied Joe, definitely. I could build you a school in the back garden if you like, offered Mr. Spud. No, I want to go to a normal school with normal kids. I want to make a friend, Dad. I don't have a single friend at St. Cuthbert's. But you can't go to a normal school. You're a billionaire boy. All the kids will either bully you or want to be friends with you just because you're rich. It will be a nightmare for you. Well then, I just won't tell anyone who I am. I'll just be Joe. And maybe, just maybe, I'll even make a friend or two. Mr. Spud thought for a moment and then relented. That's what you really want, Joe? Then, okay, you can go to a normal school. Joe was so excited he bum jumped. Bum jumping, verb. Bum jumping. To move places while sitting using only your bottom to power you, thus meaning you do not have to get up. Much favoured by the overweight. Along the sofa nearer to his dad to give him a cuddle. Don't crease the suit, boy, said Mr. Spud. Sorry, Dad, said Joe, bum jumping back a little. He cleared his throat. I love you, Dad. Yes, son, ditto, ditto, said Mr. Spud as he rose to his feet. Well, have a good birthday, mate. Aren't we going to do something together tonight? Said Joe, trying to hide his disappointment. When he was younger, Joe's dad would always take him to the local burger restaurant as a birthday treat. They couldn't afford the burgers, so they would just order the chips and eat them with some ham and pickle sandwiches that Mr. Spud would smuggle in under his hat. Can't, son. Sorry, I've got a date with this beautiful girl tonight, said Mr. Spud, indicating page 3 of the Sun. Joe looked at the page. There was a photograph of a woman whose clothes seemed to have fallen off. Her hair was dyed white blonde and she had so much makeup on it was difficult to tell if she was pretty or not. Underneath the image it read, Sapphire, 19, from Bradford, like shopping, hates thinking. Don't you think Sapphire's a little young for you, Dad? Asked Joe. It's only a 27-year age gap, replied Mr. Spud in an instant. Joe wasn't convinced. Well, where are you going to take this Sapphire? A nightclub. A nightclub? Asked Joe. Yes, said Mr. Spud in an offended tone. I'm not too old to go to a nightclub. As he spoke, he opened a box and pulled out what looked like a hamster had been flattened by a mallet and put it on his head. What on earth is that, Dad? What's what, Joe? Replied Mr. Spud with a mock innocence. He'd adjusted the contraption to cover his bald dome. That thing on your head? Oh, this? It's a toupee, boy. Only 10 grand each. I bought a blonde one, a brown one, a ginger one, and an afro for special occasions. It makes me look 20 years younger, don't you think? Joe didn't like to lie. The toupee didn't make his dad look younger. Instead, it made him look like a man who was trying to balance a dead rodent on his head. Therefore, Joe chose to non-committal. Right. Well, have a good night, Joe added, picking up the remote. Looked like it would be just him and the 100-inch TV again. There's some caviar in the fridge for your tea, son, said Mr. Spud as he headed for the door. What's caviar? It's fish eggs, son. Ugh. Joe didn't even like normal eggs much. Eggs laid by a fish sounded really revolting. Yeah, I had some on my toast for breakfast. It's absolutely disgusting, but it's very expensive, so we should start eating it. Can't we just have bangers and mash, or fish and chips, or shepherd's pie, or something, Dad? I used to love shepherd's pie, son. Mr. Spud drawled a little, as if imagining the taste of shepherd's pie. Well then? Mr. Spud shook his head impatiently. No. We are rich, son. We have to eat all this posh stuff now like proper rich people do. See you later. The door slammed behind him, and moments later, Joe heard the deafening roar of his father's lime green Lamborghini speeding off into the night. Joe was disappointed to be on his own again, but he still couldn't suppress a small smile as he turned on the TV. He was going to be going to an ordinary school again, and be an ordinary boy, and maybe, just maybe, make a friend. The question was, how long could Joe keep the fact that he was a billionaire a secret? That's the end of these chapters, folks. If you enjoyed, please do not forget to like and subscribe. And comment down below which book I should read after this one. See you guys in the next chapters. Bye-bye.